Hey guys, welcome back. Joe Brunsman, insurance broker to the stars. I got a crazy one for you guys today. We got allegations getting thrown back and forth. We got people pointing fingers at each other. I'm going to be talking about who owns the breach. I'm going to get into who the players are, why they're pointing fingers at each other and what they're saying, and then some takeaways for MSP ownership and leadership out there when it comes to a situation like this. But before we begin, guys, I've made it big time. We have a sponsor. It is the Aston Group, envoys and advisors to businesses and their founders. You guys have probably seen Danny Aston on here before, shelling out all types of wonderful information to you folks. So I'll put a link in the description down below if you want to reach out and get the conversation started. All right, now let's talk about who are the players. On one hand, you have BerryDunn. According to LinkedIn, they have at least 500 employees, and they are a CPA firm. On the other side, you have an MSP. Now, I'm going to keep them anonymous. I'm sure you could find their name on the news if you care enough, but it doesn't really add any value to add their name here, and I'm not trying to kick a guy while he's down. Okay? So, a little bit of backstory here. Long before I provided insurance for MSPs, I was doing insurance for accounting firms. So my first thought was, hey, I'm going to go take a look at this accounting firm. Now you'll see here they do, accounting insurance, audit review, compilation, blah, 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 tax stuff. Okay, standard. But on the right-hand side, they have a consulting arm. And you'll notice it says information security and information systems. So I just clicked on the first one. What are they doing here? Disaster recovery, incident response, security compliance, risk and gap assessments, security program development, penetration testing. So moral of the story, they're not just some, run-of-the-mill guy who hung a shingle down the street and does your 1040 tax return. No, these appear to be a very large, highly sophisticated organization. So keep that in mind as we're going through this. Now, what is this big CPA firm saying? A little bit of backstory here. There's this thing called HAPG. It appears to just be kind of this subsidiary thing that BerryDunn deals with. So I'm just going to say BerryDunn to keep it simple for everybody. So back in September, BerryDunn was notified that one of its vendors, being the MSP, had discovered suspicious network activity that was impacting its network. So something was impacting the MSP's network, including systems it managed on behalf of BerryDunn. BerryDunn, immediately implemented its response protocols, blah, blah, blah. The investigation found that an unauthorized actor gained access to the MSP's network and took some data stored on BerryDunn systems. Then BerryDunn hires a vendor. They do a review. What do they do from there? They go, hey, we've taken all this data. We're decommissioning it from under the MSP's umbrella. We're going to bring it all back in-house. And from there, it's going to be under our cybersecurity program. So effectively, I think what we're seeing here is fair to say is BerryDunn is completely pointing the finger at their MSP saying, it's not us, it was them, they're the bad guys. Well, obviously the MSP has something to say about this. So the MSP came out with its own response on its own website because this has generated really a decent amount of press coverage, nothing any of you guys would ever want to deal with. And they said, hey, the MSPs worked with these guys for years providing technology consultation services, on-demand IT support, and training and maintenance and monitoring services for BerryDunn's networks. Now, what does that sound like they're not doing? Cybersecurity. They go on. BerryDunn, however, did not retain the MSP to serve as its cybersecurity protection/prevention vendor. So they're saying, hey, you didn't even hire us to do this thing. How are you pointing the blame at us? But it gets a little spicier. They go on and they say, BerryDunn states in its recent notice while performing its network monitoring services, the MSP discovered suspicious activity affecting BerryDunn's network, and then they reached out to BerryDunn and told them about it. Notably, however, the breach did not occur on the MSP's own network, nor its internal systems. Furthermore, none of the MSP's other clients' networks or systems were impacted by this data breach. They're probably putting that in there to, one, add clarity, but two, they probably got a lot of inquiries Once this got out into the news and some other business owners saw that their MSP was in the news, and the big CPA firm in town is blaming their MSP, so they probably reached out and they were like, hey, are we part of this? Did we not receive the letter? So they're trying to kind of squash the fears there. But wait, there's more. Contrary, and you can tell this was written by an attorney, contrary to BerryDunn's baseless allegations, BerryDunn's own network and systems were breached by a third party through no fault of the MSP. It's truly unfortunate that BerryDunn has resorted to casting aspersions on the MSP in an effort to control the narrative. However, we as the MSP remain confident that once all the forensics investigations are completed and all the facts are discovered, their allegations will prove to be devoid of any merit whatsoever. So the MSP is going, hey, one, it wasn't us, it was you. Two, we're the heroes because we told you about it. And three, we did our job. We did what we were supposed to do. So I guess the ultimate question here is this HAPG thing, where is that residing? Who owns it? And what did the contract say? So what we don't know here, we don't actually really know yet what the hell even happened, right? There's no further detail in there. Now, was there a contract? We don't know. What was in the contract? We have no idea. Looking at the CPA firm, this is not the guy down the street that hung a shingle. It looks like these people, or at least somebody in their organization, knows about cybersecurity. So you think the CPA firm would have this under control if there was that much PII, PHI, etc. in that system. Now, who has insurance? We don't know. We do know that BerryDunn, they're already facing a class action claim from the people impacted by this breach. Now we could see a little more come out in discovery on what this system was, where it was located, the timeline of events, but we just don't have that yet. So what we don't know yet is the MSP, are they going to put a little force behind their words? Are they actually going to bring a claim against their MSP for negligence, etc.? We're not sure. It hasn't popped up yet. I haven't seen it in the legal records. Now, I will say I have made these types of videos before, and the MSP that was actually impacted by this has watched the video. So one, my man, if you're watching this, I'm sorry this happened to you. Two, you need to talk to your insurance company if you haven't already done that. Make sure you have an appropriate tech E&O policy. If you need help, you can find me. It's going to be completely confidential. I'll help you if you need it. All right? And then in return, we got to ask, man, BerryDunn is really throwing some shade at the MSP. And to be fair, the MSP is throwing shade back at BerryDunn. But is the MSP going to come after BerryDunn for libel? Right? Are they going to say, hey, you're defaming our business name. This could cost us business. Our name is in the news, et cetera, et cetera. That is yet to be seen. All right. So what are those takeaways here? One, please have a clearly defined contract and explain them. All right. Please do not be afraid. Make sure that you're going through this with your clients saying, okay, this is what we're doing. This is what we're not doing. And the longer that contract's in place, I think it's even more important to revisit that discussion. Next, just because it wasn't your fault doesn't mean it's not your problem. All right. So this gets into the written notice of circumstance, what I call a potential claim. I've harped about on that before, but this is a great example of, hey, you don't think it was your fault. Unfortunately, that's not how the world or the legal system works. All right. So please make sure you are adhering to the terms within your tech E&O insurance policy. Next, constantly reaffirm the offer to provide those cybersecurity services. So I've spoken to MSPs in the past and they go, yeah, I have these small clients. They just can't afford it. One of the things I've been saying for years now is I get it. Not everybody can afford, this all you can eat type service. Not everyone's in that position, but for risk management and risk transference purposes, you need to, one, keep telling those people that you offer those services, and two, make sure that you memorialize that in writing, all right? Just in case this type of situation pops up where you go, hey, I was just doing break fix / MSP stuff. I was not your cybersecurity guy. Keep in mind, when you look at the general public, they're not IT folks. All right, they're not going to know what a firewall is. They're not going to know what MDR is and EDR, etc. So you have to make sure, even if you know they're not going to take it, you need to keep constantly pinging them saying, hey, just want to remind you, this thing is here. It could help prevent against this. If you'd like to implement that service, please let us know. Next, I think kind of the broader discussion, and I'd be really interested to see in the discussion below. Please leave a comment. Do you think that MSPs can actually exist today without cybersecurity services, right? This kind of all-you-can-eat model. It seems to me as though the traditional, MSP / break-fix model is really breaking down, and it's moving much quicker to the break-fix / MSP / MSSP, if you want to call it that, type services, so that you have really overarching control of that network and you don't end up in this kind of funky situation where it's a he said, she said. All right. With that, I'm done talking. Man, that was only 11 minutes. So, like all these stars on YouTube say, please like, share, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think is going to happen. Tell me if you think that the traditional MSP model can exist moving forward. Right above me here is another video that the YouTube overlords think will keep you on the platform. And if you click over there on my beautiful face, you can subscribe to my channel. All right, guys, with that, stay safe.